U.S. Grant gets caught with his pants down and still makes the Confederates pay. Hello and welcome to Civil War in Hindsight. I'm Lieutenant Tommy. With me, as always, is Prospector Johnny. And this week, Prospector is going to open up with an Albert Sidney Johnston marching his army out of Corinth, Mississippi to face off against U.S. Grant's forces at Pittsburgh Landing in Tennessee, specifically Shiloh, Tennessee.
Oh, so the South's coming in and attacking it. They're being pretty aggressive here.
They're trying to get us to, we did just take over, Nashville not that long ago. So this is them trying to get like some of their territory back. However, heavy rains are going to delay the troops on the 4th of April. So Johnston's hopes of a surprise attack on the 5th are completely and totally dashed. It's also important to note that Johnston only brings enough food and supplies, thinking that his march was going to be like a day there, fight the battle, and a day back.
Yeah, he didn't. So he has 3 days of supplies, and he sets off and
on the 4th.
Runs into rain in the spring in Mississippi. And,
horrible rains. Yeah, horrible rains from Mississippi. Yeah, and he's delayed a little bit. Meanwhile, in Virginia, McClellan is moving extremely slowly and cautiously. He does not push across the Rappahannock River onto Yorktown, despite having a nearly 10-to-1 advantage over the Confederate troops there.
Who can we take care of this guy?
Lincoln for like the last 6 months has been like, McClellan, you suck, and then still not done anything about it.
I mean, do something about it. Because he's not doing anything.
No. This gives Joseph E. Johnston, the other Johnston, time to move more troops to the peninsula, reinforcing troops there at Yorktown. So
he gave them time to make it a harder thing to do.
Yes, exactly.
Is he a secret Confederate?
I think he might be.
The question has to be asked.
I think
at this
he might
point,
be.
Is he sabotaging the North? Can somebody check into his background or something?
On the 5th, McClellan finally begins his siege of Yorktown, and yes, I say siege here, not a direct attack on the vastly outnumbered troops. I'll starve him out for 10 turns because I don't want to risk my 10-to-1 advantage I have.
They're already starving.
And he does a shitty job of that too, Johnny, the siege, because Joseph Johnston is getting more and more troops into the peninsula through the Rappahannock River, so he's not even doing a good job of cutting off Yorktown.
Troops are just
pouring into Yorktown. Pouring into Yorktown. Yep. While all this
is a siege in name only.
It's a siege in name only. While all this is going on, the other Johnston, that's Albert Johnston, he's going to get his forces to the Shiloh church, but is unable to attack Grant's positions on the 5th. And at this point, he's like, well, Grant has to know I'm here. I'm pretty sure I can see his army from where we're at. Made myself known. Not the quiet, we're not the quietest thing. That shit makes noise, and we're... 10,000 of those dudes marching around like that. But somehow Grant is actually completely unaware that Albert's army is right on his doorstep.
Does he not just have somebody grabbing a horse and riding out in all directions every once in a while, see what's going on?
I think Grant might be falling into some old habits. Old habits.
Yes. Old habits do die hard.
They do tend to die hard. T.P. Davis is going to telegraph Albert Sidney Johnston, anticipating that he's going to have victory in the morning. So, you got the president of the Confederacy, the traitor President Davis, who's saying to Johnston, you're going to win. I expect that you win.
Gave him a pep talk?
I don't even know if it's a pep talk as much as if you don't win, you better not come to work on Monday. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You are going to win. Union forces on the 5th are also going to seize Desto Island in South Carolina, and the Union military governor Andrew Johnson in Tennessee, he's going to suspend the mayor and councilman in Nashville for not taking an oath to the Union. So the mayor of which is why would they have taken it? They seceded. Why would they have taken an oath anyways? But because they don't take an oath,
at this point they did it to be like, oh, you're not a coward, and you're gonna go ahead and stand by what y'all agreed to do and do that, and so they gone.
And Johnny Clueless Grant is going to be surprised by the whole of Albert's army on the 6th at the start of the Battle of Shiloh, which is we've already done a special on this battle with historic hindsight. So if you're interested in like minute by minute, like specific, very detailed account of the battle, please watch that. This is going to be a very brief overview. Despite the several skirmishes that happened over the past few days, Grant's army was largely unaware that the Confederates' movements were as close as they were, and those Confederates turned into a charge headlong into Grant's positions while the soldiers were sitting down for breakfast, or some literally still in bed in their tents, while the entire Confederate army is like just plowing through the main
and so
line of Grant's defenses.
You hear them coming before they're like right on you. But you're sitting there eating your breakfast, and all of a sudden, clang, 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 get louder, and you look up, and there's a bunch of they're charging. What a bad morning.
That's not a morning.
Maybe a scout should have been sent out to see if there was an army of however many thousand men nearby, ready to attack you.
Well, the Union Army was unable to make an alert before the battle was fully underway, but somehow they're able to compose themselves enough to prevent a full rout. So, because they're caught unaware, they're caught with their pants down, and they're actually, Johnny, they're able to compose themselves enough to prevent a full rout because as those Confederates who've only had 3-day supplies, which are now, they've gone through those 3 days of supplies, they see the breakfast that the Union soldiers are making. They're like, that was good. We're going to stop and eat that. And then they look at the Union guns and they go, oh, you guys have rifled muskets that are percussion and not flintlock smoothbores? I'm going to ditch that gun for this. And so they start going on this raiding party of just looting and pillaging as opposed to actually fighting the Union Army. Which gives the Union Army just enough time to regroup.
And then, Yep.
Grant is actually north at Savannah, meeting with the first contingent of Buell's forces that were supposed to arrive with him to do a coordinated attack down into Tennessee or into the deep south. And so he's nowhere near the battlefield as this is all going on. And Grant, God, even though he screwed up at Fort Henry and Fort what was the other one? Donelson. He had the same thing where he didn't really put a second in command in charge. He didn't learn from that lesson. He still didn't really have a second in command in charge. So that's where the whole caught unawares happened because Grant's nowhere there, and the second in command, nobody knows who that is. So
yeah, but why is there not a de facto?
Yeah, there should be. Grant should
line
really
of chain of command there. Because what if Grant just died unexpected? He had a heart attack overnight. Whatever, anything could happen.
Well, if he survives, if he survives this, I hope he does fix it. But while Grant is there meeting with the first contingent of Buell's forces, he hears the gunfire and he hightails it back to Pittsburgh Landing, where when he arrives, he orders Lew Wallace's division into the field. He's all right, dude. Clearly gunfire. What are you doing standing around? Yeah. Get your ass to the gunfire.
Because no one told me what to do. I don't know.
The Confederate charge wasn't the most organized as units got intermixed, and then they got confused as to
who's who?
Well, where's my commanding officer? Where the hell am I? Who are you guys? Why are the Tennessee boys here? I'm with the Arkansas division. What is all going on? So it's all they got intermixed and confused.
Just a bunch of lost children on a field trip.
And like I said, they're too busy raiding ammo dumps, trying to get new guns, trying to get food,
eating.
So they're eating. They get confused, and the battle winds up hitting basically a brick wall at the sunken road, which becomes what's known as the Hornets' Nest, which is a very high casualty zone where both sides just start slugging the shit out of each other. And real bloody. This is probably the bloodiest part of the war up to this point in this little area. The Union does have control of a sunken road, which gives them a good defensive position, and the Confederates just keep slamming against it, hoping for the best. Casualties are very high on this first day, and Albert himself, Johnny, he's going to take a shot to the leg, but he's like, screw that shit. I'm on a horse. What do I need to walk for? I'm just going to keep ordering my commands, riding around on my pony, doing my thing. Not realizing that
blood loss.
He is bleeding profusely into his boot. He himself is going to pass out, fall off his horse when his aide goes up to him, pulls off the boot. The boot is completely full of blood, and Johnson is going to die shortly thereafter of blood loss because, which, to be fair, though, like, even if he attended to it, he got hit in the artery. He was going to be dead anyways.
I mean, good God. Yeah. Have you seen medical technology at this point?
Union, not great. It's not great. Union Brigadier General W.H.L. Wallace, he's also going to be mortally wounded on the field. The second commanding Confederates, General Beauregard, was unable to rally the Confederate troops in time to stop their whole supply hunting to actually destroy the Union Army on the first day, so he has to wait for his massive push until the morning.
That's why, I mean, so they just went back. They're like, all right, we'll go back and go to sleep and then try it again in the morning.
Yeah, they lost the initiative of the day. They have to regroup and try for an attack in the morning. Now, to paint a picture of how bad the fight was on both sides, a Confederate journal of a private by the name of Sam Watkins, which is actually a book. It's Company H. Really good
already
book.
Turned that into a book?
He will.
It just happened.
Yeah, anyways, he says, and I quote, "Oh, God forever keep me out of such another fight. I was not scared. I was just in danger." So he's like, hug this shit. He also has accounts of, like, talking about, like, this was, like, his first major battle, and, like, everybody's all excited, and then he sees his buddy get blown away, and it's like, shit, this is real. Like, I don't want anything about this.
Real quick. Once people start firing at you.
In reality, very much does hit real quick. On the 7th, between the night of the 6th and the 7th, Beauregard and the Confederate Army is going to regret not destroying Grant's army because Grant gets his revenge with a shit ton of reinforcements. Through night storms that rage all around Shiloh's battlefield, it's not going to stop Buell's army from doing a forced march and getting there through the night.
Jesus.
In mass.
No,
so
thank
now
you to that, but...
Beauregard is facing two armies as opposed to just what's left of Grant's. In the morning, Grant and Buell are going to push the entire Confederate line and regain all lost ground from the 6th, except for a small peach orchard that was continued to be a slugfest back and forth.
In a peach orchard.
Well, hey. Confederates got too distracted.
It's just a weird juxtaposition.
Yeah, there probably wouldn't have been any ripe peaches though. It's April, so there's probably
no. Not yet. Yeah,
not yet.
Yeah.
But in any case, slugfest over said peach orchard. Beauregard is desperately waiting word from his reinforcements from Earl Van Dorn's army from Arkansas, and word is going to come from Van Dorn saying, "Nah, not coming."
Couldn't make it. Sorry.
Can't make it. I know that Buell made it through a rainstorm, but I don't
know. I can't ask my guys. Have you seen the distance? It's a long way.
I don't want to do it.
Good luck, though.
We
send our best.
At this point, faced with being heavily outnumbered and, of course, lacking food and ammunition, Beauregard is going to retreat. Grant is going to retake all of his old positions, but command structure issues prevent Grant from ordering Buell to pursue because there's confusion as to whether Grant is over Buell or not, and that's not directly made apparent. So Buell's like, I'm not going to go forward, even though Buell's basically, his entire army is basically at this point unmolested, like he's pretty fresh, and Grant's army is kind of
he just doesn't want it.
So he's like, it's okay, let him retreat. So instead of pursuing and destroying Beauregard, they let him retreat. So Johnny, this is another one of those battles where Union victory, but you lost the opportunity. Yep.
We didn't lose ground.
Yeah. Union is going to lose 1,754 killed, 8,408 wounded, and 2,885 missing to the Confederates, 1,728 killed, 8,012 wounded, and 959 captured. So for the most part, this is a pretty even, minus the missing part, even casualty rate on both sides.
Just
very heavy casualties. Meanwhile, on the 7th, over in New Madrid, a.k.a. Island Number 10 in North Carolina. You know that island where the Union spiked a bunch of guns last week? Union General John Pope's siege is going to finally pay off as Confederate Brigadier General W.W. McCall is going to surrender 25 field cannon and 7,000 men with all their guns, ammunition, and food stores. On the 8th, Confederate morale is at an all-time low with the loss and retreat of Beauregard's forces. to Corinth, Mississippi, and the entire garrison at New Madrid gone. In addition, Confederates out in Santa Fe are pursued by a stronger Union force, and they are forced to pull south along the Rio Grande. So that whole great expedition in California, yeah, that's over.
It didn't get there, huh?
Didn't get there.
Shoot.
On April 9th, the desperation of the Confederates reach a new level when the Confederate Senate passes a bill calling for conscription of troops. So this is initiating the draft in the Confederacy. There was a vocal opposition. Great. Yeah, not great. Vocal opposition saying that this is a breach of liberty. Like, you should have the choice to choose whether or not you want to fight a war or not fight a war.
Over what they're saying is states' rights. They're
states' rights, yeah.
We are fighting in this war so that we can have the right to not do this for this big federal government
thing.
BS. Like,
yep. In any case,
right.
that minor vocal opposition is outweighed by the majority that pointed out, we don't have enough people to win this war without.
But we need
without forcing it to happen. Like, there's no volunteers coming, so we need to force some hands here. Lincoln and his cabinet members discussed McClellan's lack of doing much of anything, where he's going to write McClellan once again that he must act. So this is like the 80th time that Lincoln's like, do something.
Hey, McClellan, could you? Please?
And Johnny, this long, bloody week is going to finally come to an end on the 10th with a bombardment of Fort Pulaski on Cockspur's Island at the mouth of the Savannah River in Georgia. So we're going into Savannah, Georgia, trying to take over that territory. Another front of this bloody, bloody war with a siege there. Union Brigadier General Quincy Adams Gilmore has built heavy batteries on Tybee Island and garrisoned with 385 men and, importantly, 48 rifled cannons with new rounds that are impact detonating rounds. So they explode when they hit the fort's wall. They go boom.
What?
New rounds that we have. Yep. With rifled guns, you always know that the conical bullet is going to land on its nose. So now you can have a round that blows up when the nose hits. So this makes...
That sounds horrific.
And amazing when you're blowing up walls. Like, now you... Like, when that... It hits that wall, it's going to go boom and put holes in said wall. This is amazing.
Can we use... I assume we could put it in our ships?
Yeah, we can have them
boats. Can we start sinking some boats and stuff?
Need to do that with those? Yeah. And importantly here, with the rifled guns, we outrange the fort's defenses, so they can't do nothing about it.
Well, okay, if we stay at that range, which, as we've seen, doesn't always happen. Sometimes we just kind of scooch up real close and let them shoot at us for a while.
At the end here on the 10th, there is significant structural damage to the fort. And oh yeah, by the way, Johnny, final note for the week: a counterfeiting ring was broken up in St. Louis. Some dirty rebels were counterfeiting U.S. money in St. Louis, and they got caught. That's it for this week in Civil War in Hindsight. If you enjoy Civil War in Hindsight, please check out Historic Hindsight, where we talk about all kinds of fun things like the Battle of Shiloh, the Tale of the Bloody Boot, and a Boy Scout who decided to make a nuclear reactor.